All right, so we are joined from right down the road in Jackson, Mississippi, from the Department of Human Services, Aging and Senior
Adult
Adult Division. Our Director of SHIP, the State Health Insurance Education Program, Candace Washington. I have a room full here with me at Velma Jackson, our business law class, and we're recording this for our friends at Madison Central High School, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, and our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your incredibly busy schedule today. And before we get into SHIP and the things that your division provides and things to look for and things that young people need to know when it comes to their parents, their loved ones, talk a little bit about your educational background, where you the high school and college, and the kind of decisions you made to get into this career.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you asked. And thank you guys for allowing me to be here with you all today. It is definitely a pleasure. So I knew early on when I was in grade school that I wanted to go into the helping profession. So at that time, of course, like most young ladies or girls, we always think nursing. So I fast forward upon completing high school at Richland High School in Rankin County, because some people think I'm saying Ridgeland, like no, Richland.
The Rangers, not the Titans.
Absolutely, that's it. So upon graduation at Richland High School, I decided to go into I enrolled into Holmes Community College in Ridgeland. That's where I studied all my prerequisites for nursing school. So during that time, I was accepted into nursing school at Hines. And I got over there, wasted more time and more money, and more of my parents' money. And I was, in class, I was like, you know what? This is not it. Nothing against nursing. It just wasn't for me. So when we think of the helper profession, we tend to think of, again, nursing, but there's so many ways to be involved. And social work helped me get to where I am now. So once I graduated from Hines, literally like the following Monday, I was enrolled at the University of Mississippi, as you all call Ole Miss. So at that time, that's when I studied social work, graduated from my bachelor's there, later returned for my master's, and now I am what you would say like a public administrator, and that's where I oversee certain federal programs, and SHIP being one of these federal programs. And so SHIP is also known as the State Health Insurance Assistance Program. And it's a really vital program because you can be the wealthiest person in the world or the person in the world that's homeless and have nothing at all. We are here to service you. And what I mean by service is that anytime, you may turn 65, you qualify for Medicare. But sometimes you may qualify through a different criteria due to your health. Someone could be 16, 25, it doesn't matter. And they may, be diagnosed with end-stage renal disease, where they may, have to undergo a kidney transplant or dialysis or something like that. So a lot of people tend to think 65, but again, depending on your medical diagnosis, you can, indefinitely they enroll you for Medicare. So with Medicare, that is the program that you pay for over your life. At some point throughout your life, you're going to start your career, and some of your check is going to go to Medicare.
Yeah, if you work in the state of Mississippi, no matter what your job is, you're paying for it, whether you like it or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, of course, Medicare is one of those touchy deals that's always up for discussion every so many years. If you pay attention to like national news, it's always a topic. Someone is always trying to abort Medicare. And we do not want this to happen because, again, this is something that you paid into or you're going to pay into. It's basically your insurance. So it helps. It helps you, with different doctor's visits. If you need a counselor, if you need whatever you need, this or your loved one may need this, we can definitely help you with SHIP. So how that relates to SHIP is that we have counselors, licensed counselors all over the state of Mississippi, where we educate Medicare beneficiaries as well as their caregivers about all things Medicare. So a call may start, or the visit may start with someone saying, we don't have food in the home, or, we may need a ramp, or, we may need, some construction done inside the home for our disabled loved one or our aging loved one. And we can help you all with that.
Yep.
So we have so many different resources that we provide through SHIP. And also here at the, through the agency, like Mr. Haggett mentioned, with Asian Adult Services, we offer transportation to our seniors and disabled population, as well as we have the MAC Center. So I'm sure y'all have seen the SHIP commercials and the MAC, the MAC commercials, especially during open enrollment. We offer caregiver support. It's just a lot of different programs. And I know in Madison County, you all have a senior center, which is a congregate meal site, I believe in Florida. And so we work closely with them as well. And with the Madison County Madison County Human Resource Agency.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point too about, you may need it for your loved ones because like you said, especially I have a 93-year-old grandmother who doesn't even have a cell phone. So having, sometimes this elderly population, especially the elderly population now, they aren't going to know how to navigate these websites and know how to find things. So that's where I think it's important for young people that may have to take care of their family to know what services are available to them, because like you said, you may be, the poorest person, but there is still things you are legally entitled to. And there's still things that the state can provide for you to help the quality of life and the quality of medical care your loved one can receive.
Absolutely. And that is very true because, just generally speaking, especially down here in the South, people, when they think of the Department of Human Services, the first thing that comes to their mind is child support,
Yep.
food stamps, and someone is coming to take their baby. And I'm here to tell you, we offer so much more. And these programs that I mentioned earlier, like SHIP and the congregate meal sites and transportation, those are not welfare programs. These are programs that we're all entitled to because because you are a citizen. So if you have a need, we don't mind providing that service.
Yeah, and that's also, we're up here in a rural area of Velma Jackson, those transportation services are regional. So there may be somebody in a group based in Canton that could provide that transportation to a doctor's visit or dialysis, or like you said, be able to come make your home ADA compliant. There's not, it's something that you've paid for and that you are legally entitled to.
Absolutely. So we could just kind of stop using the term welfare program.
Yeah, absolutely, because there is a welfare department and this is not part of that department.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, those are some of the services that we provide here at the State Unit on Aging or Aging Adult Services. We have so many titles that we go by these days. But one thing that remains the same, we're located downtown Jackson. We have our website and we have our phone number. To connect you to these resources, which is 844-822-4622. And I know this is a business law class, and so I kind of did my homework on you guys too. And I remember taking a business law class when I was enrolled at home, and it was really, really great. And so one thing that I do know about business law, and it has to relate to state government, is that we all need laws and legislations to kind of regulate how we go about doing business and just everyday life.
Yeah, because it's not, laws, it doesn't just mean somebody's going to jail. And I think that's it. You see that on TV, but there's civil laws that affect us every day.
Absolutely. So I know you all are familiar with the commercial. I think it's the Environmental Masters, where they have the dog and they're like, oh my gosh, we got to upgrade this, this system or that system. So those are things that are regulated, because of course we all want to make sure that we're taking in the best air or the best heat, or we have access to different things in our homes, in our schools, and in our, and at our the buildings that we frequent, like the grocery stores, this, that, and the other. Like you mentioned earlier about the ADA compliance. All of these laws and regulations, they work closely together. So from the business law side, you all want to make sure that when you're, establishing businesses or working for a business, that you are connected with state government to make sure that you all are on the same page and that everything, the checklist is being checked to make sure that, the height, all the measurements for whatever deal is working close together. The lighting fixtures are how they should be. Just basic. It really boils down to just basic things
Even the
or
width of
whatever.
the bathroom stall.
Absolutely. Indeed. Because they could mess up a whole little venture. It can mess some things up. Yes, so I don't want to sound like a rambling,
No, you're
so
fine.
help me out here.
But I think it's extremely important, because a lot of people say, "Well, I'm just 17 years old. This is never going to apply to me." But heaven forbid, you may find yourself disabled. It could happen to me. It could happen to you. It could happen to anybody. Or like we said, it's just important because I'm sure in your area, you guys advocate for nursing home reform. There's a lot of, there's more and more advertisements about nursing home abuse coming because unfortunately it's coming to light about these places that have taken advantage of people that don't know, a lot of the rural community. And that's where knowing things you are legally entitled to, not welfare, but things that you have paid for that is provided by the state that can not only protect you, but also better your life.
Absolutely, and that's very true. And I'm glad you mentioned the nursing home perspective because that's one program I did not mention. And the crazy thing is, my office is in between those two people. So, house to my left and to my right, we have our state long-term care ombudsmen. And what they do is they help regulate nursing homes, in addition to the Department of Health, they regulate the nursing homes with our long-term care ombudsmen. What they do is if someone has a complaint about their loved one that resides in a nursing home, they come out and they advocate on their person's behalf. So you do have people that's here, like you said earlier, they're just advocating for you all and for your loved ones. Right. So again, Department of Human Services is so much bigger than, the things that I mentioned earlier. Pretty much all things human, we are the go-to agency. And if there's something there, our boundary lines may meet with another state agency, such as the Department of Health or Child Protective Services. We have relationships with all of these agencies. So we're able to make sure that whatever need that you have, we will provide those services.
Yeah, and I think it's important on your website, it shows that you guys have people available because somebody may not know if they qualify for something. Because I think if you find yourself injured or find yourself disabled, even if it's a temporary, if you got to be on a wheelchair because you broke both your legs for 6 months, you could be entitled to something because you're unable to work. So things like that are, that's where you guys come into play to see what somebody's options could be of a way to take care of themselves.
Absolutely. So we do have that's another program like the Medicaid waiver program. And so we have that program that's available, across the state. So if someone finds themselves, like you said, in a crunch where they're disabled, and regardless of the age, and they may need this or they may need that, they can apply for the waiver program, and we're able to kind of alleviate some of the stressors that one and their families may have. It's you're just here with a lot of information.
And I got some good questions from the students I'm about to get to, but obviously want to talk about if somebody's interested in getting into this field. The state is always looking for great social workers, and Jackson State has a great social work program, as does Ole Miss. So, and then the Holmes and Hines have the great pre-social work associates program. So talk about, a career in social work and how it's so needed in your area.
Oh, absolutely. So here's the thing. So when I was coming up, my mom and dad, they shared with me and my brothers, they were like, just follow a career, find your career to just do what you love. And so as I've gotten into a career, I'm mingling with other people, and they're like, no, I started, in fact, in church yesterday, a young lady was telling me, she said, I started off with social work. She said, it wasn't a lot of money. She said, so she went another route. So my thing is when we have to ask ourselves, what is our calling? What are our talents? So I always believe in yourself and make sure that you know what your talents are. And your talents can help navigate you to where you need to be as far as your career path. And so with social work, it's so broad. Meaning you can be a medical social worker where you can work at a state hospital such as University of Mississippi Medical Center or the state hospital out in Pearl. we the Department of Rehab here at the Human Services, Child Protective Services. You can be in any capacity of government, even in county government, local municipalities. Social workers are everywhere, and some people you might even know they're social workers, and they're indeed social work. So, like I said earlier, at the time I knew I wanted to go into the helping profession. I was thinking from a patient standpoint, but I later learned it was from a policy standpoint. So the fun thing about what I do with social work, I get to create policies that affect a lot of people in Mississippi. So I'm sure I probably missed some of y'all's loved ones on my path because I cover all 82 counties, me and my team. So we're constantly doing assessments, needs assessments, just kind of see what are the needs of Mississippians when it comes to a lot of these different programs. So so social work is so broad.
Yeah, and there's always a need for women. There's always a need for minority women because especially when in a very personal setting, a lot of people are going to feel most comfortable talking to somebody that looks like them or is the same gender. So there is a very need for a diverse pool of social workers of people of all genders and all colors. It's just really can never have enough. But the one good thing, like you said, it may not make the most money in the world, but having the state benefits are very good because you can retire a little bit earlier than everybody else. So it's either get your money now or get your money later.
Absolutely. Oh, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And this is just not me saying this. This is very true. You all can Google it. But Mississippi state government, we have the best retirement in the state. I mean, in the country, and I mean it's top tier. Yeah. So that's one positive thing that we can say about the state of Mississippi.
Yeah, and that's a great segue. Before I get to these questions, we've had a couple of financial people talk about that because I know when kids are in high school, they're not thinking about retirement, but when they when they start saving for retirement, you can't just retire and the money be there. But if the state, PERS is a great program. If they're matching a certain amount that you're putting in, and that's a money that you don't even pay that you get later. So putting that money aside now can have great dividends for you later when you can retire a lot earlier than other fields.
Absolutely, because when they send me my statement, I get so proud. I look at my checks sometimes, I'm like, oh. But then when they send me this statement and let me know that I'm paying it for the future, I smile again.
Yeah, and it's more than double of what you've actually paid into it. It is something, even if you're not a state employee, if you don't put in the maximum somebody will match, you are absolutely outside of your mind.
Absolutely.
And then we also have the deferred compensation plan on top of that, but that's a whole different conversation for another day. But I do have some questions from the students. This is a good one to start with. This is Brian McMurtry. He's a senior, and he asked, "How much patience does your job require?"
Oh, so thank God for patience. So I would say this: not every day is stressful, and I seriously mean it. So for me, I have busy seasons. So the most critical time for me is maybe I'll say from April till about June because I'm applying for a lot of grants during that time and working on financial budgets. And then over the summer we're doing a lot of travel outside of the state with our federal partners. And I'll say so probably September through December is really when it's really stressful. So in terms of patience, just day to day, I need is just a little bit. I need is a little bit. Because my thing is if you smile, you can sense your happiness. And then when you're on the phone or when you're face to face with with a constituent, you can't help but support whatever, offer them support because you're just in a good space. So it doesn't require a lot of patience on a day-to-day.
Well, that's a great segue to this question because this is Jeremy Clerk, also a senior. And he asked, is it ever difficult to work with senior adults that may not be as technologically savvy?
Okay, now, yes. So that sometimes can put you in a tough position. And that's when, because I've been in situations where my mind is going and I have like 10 things I'm working on, but I have a senior adult that's right in my face or either on the phone and they're like, I don't have a computer, or I don't have broadband. I'm unfamiliar. I don't know what to do, or there needs something done right then and there. They can't wait for their grandchild to come in and help them. They need assistance right then and there. So that's when I have to do a self-check and say, Candace, those other 10 things you have going on, they're going to have to wait. You have to deal with right here in front of you. That's making sure that person get the services that they need, or they're connected. And so, if I have to, for the ones that want, they can do it and they're willing, I'm patient with them to walk them through that process. But for others that are like, I absolutely can't do it, then I make sure that over the phone, of course, we have to do our little HIPAA statement. It's for them to say it's okay for us to communicate to Social Security Administration or whoever on their behalf. So yes, those are both great questions. Of
No,
course, you smile.
oh, absolutely. But again, but that goes back to, this is why it's important for people their age to understand how all this works, because if that was their grandparents there, they will want to know who they needed to talk to. So again, you have to look at, do you want to protect your family?
Absolutely. And even when I have like those rough days, with the phones are just ringing off the hook, I always tell myself, okay, Candace, what if this was your grandparent? What if this was your mother, your father, your child? What would you do?
Absolutely.
That's how I condition myself to provide good customer service. Because I always say, sometimes you have to make it personal. I wouldn't want anyone to do that, be rude to my loved ones. So of course, I would not want to be rude to someone else's loved one.
Absolutely. And now again, that's another great segue to this question. This is Anthony Walker. He's a sophomore, and he asked, what made you get into this area? Did you ever experience neglect or abuse from in the medical insurance field in your company or in your family? I'm sorry.
Yes, that is a really great question, because like most people, like most professionals that I speak with, they usually have a story where something has really impacted them, where they were maybe in foster care or one of those type stories. But my story wasn't quite like that. My family are very spiritual, and so my maternal grandmother, she was like the head usher of the church. So she was always tasked to make sure that everybody was fed. If anybody in the community needed anything, all I had to do was either show up to the church or either show up at her home, and she was gonna make sure that they got whatever they needed. Then my paternal grandmother, she was the first lady of the church. So of course they had similar roles, whatever the community needed, they had to provide. So seeing that growing up, that kind of helped shape and mold me for what I call the helping profession.
Yeah.
So yes, I love it. It just like any other career, you're gonna have, those moments where things can be overwhelming, but you have to remind yourself, this is a talent. This is what you were called to do. So you got to do it. You just got to roll up your sleeves and make it happen.
Absolutely. This is a great question here. This is Rodarius Williams. He's a senior, and he asked, what are some rights that people commonly do not know they have?
Oh, that's a great question. So we do have so here at the Department of Human Services, we have a staff attorney for every division. And in fact, we have one that's a few offices down from me. And so he'll be able to elaborate more on that question. But I'm trying to think of a personal thing, because we do work closely with Mississippi Rural Legal Services. And some people, here's one. Some people think that they, like when it comes to a living will, some people may think that they have to plan, when they get to a certain age. And I'm like, no, the planning starts now. If you have breath in your body, just like these students, you all are sophomores and seniors, you can actually start planning right now. And everything is not always about the materialistic deal. Sometimes it's just about your care. That's if you God forbid something happened in a situation. It's like, do you or do you not want to be resuscitated? Those are some things that we have to ask ourselves. Do you want to have a living will where you say yes I do or no I don't? Or do you want to leave it up to your loved ones to make the decision for you? So and I'll send you all an email with our link so you all could
Sure.
yeah, so because like I said, we have so much.
Awesome. Here's a good one. This is Quayshawn Sutton. He's a junior, and he asked, "What is the favorite thing that your department provides? What is your favorite thing that your department provides?"
So, I don't know if they I don't know okay, let me just say this. So when I was in the interviewing process for this particular job, which was a little over 5 years ago, one of the questions was, how do I feel about potlucks? Wait, in an interview? Because I'm a social person, but I'm also a person that likes to get the job done. I don't really think there's a lot of time to play, but that's a conversation for another day. And so I said, well, as long as the food is good, I don't mind. So I would say that my division for 2 years straight, we have been awarded with the best Christmas decorations, and we host potlucks like it's nobody business.
Wow.
If you got a new hairstyle, they're gonna find a reason to put something on the grill. If if there's a birthday celebration, baby shower, wedding, Super Bowl, we woke up this morning, they're gonna find a reason to host a potluck. And when I'm in my moments, I'm like, I really have work to do. They'll pull me out of this office and say, Candace, you got to be social. Like, we just got to check. That's their way of kind of checking in on each other and checking on our mental health to make sure that we're still present and we're just loving on each other, just supporting each other. It's through potlucks. So I love it now. At first I was a little rude, but now I love it.
I just got two more from the students. This is DeMarnez Griffin. He's a senior, and he asked, "What's the most challenging part about getting people signed up for Medicare?"
All right, so there's it's not really any challenges with getting them signed up for Medicare. Only when they don't do it when they're 65, and then some people they're still working past 65. When I say working, they have like really, really, really good careers where they make like really, really good money. So it's hard for them to kind of step back. And sometimes, so in those instances, if they don't go ahead and enroll, then they're faced with a premium when they do enroll. And when I tell you, they will call congressman this person or congresswoman that person or state senator this person and state or House representative that person, then they'll have someone to call me, and I tell them, thanks for the call, but this is law. This is federal law. So I can't change it. I can only be patient and help you get what you need, but there's something unfortunately I can't change.
Yeah, and that's important when these grandparents and parents are getting to 65. You need to stay on top of that, and so they can not have to pay that premium. That's extremely important.
Yeah, because one thing about their premium, once you stamp with it, it's stuck with you for life.
Yeah.
So you can call the president, the vice president, anybody else you want to call. There's no favors for this.
Yeah, it's not about what's right and wrong. It's about what the law says.
Absolutely. So that's just what it is.
Yeah, and I say that a lot, but it's important to know that stuff. I've got one more from the questions, and I love this question. This is Robert Branson. He's a sophomore, and he asked, "Are there any harder responsibilities being a Black woman as a director of a department?"
Well, how can I answer this? So within the agency, there have been any problems or concerns because we have a very diverse group here that's in different leadership positions. But it's sometimes when out in the field, they may address me a certain way, or I'm giving them my business card and I'm telling them, what my credentials are or who I am, and they're still like stuck on whatever they're stuck on. It can become a headache, but it's not anything that I experience daily, but really one time should be enough, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so in those moments, I just look at them as teachable moments. I try not to take it, personal, because some people are just simply ignorant and some people are just stuck on whatever mindset they're in. And regardless of how I try to educate them, if they're uninterested, they're just uninterested. So that's not a reflection of me, that's simply a reflection of them.
Well, and again, that goes back to if they don't know what they're entitled to legally in the state, that's going to be their own fault. And unfortunately, it can cost them a lot of money or cost somebody their life. So if they can't get past that, that's going to be on them.
Absolutely.
Now we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking some time for us today. I know you got a crazy schedule, but before we go, first of all, tell us where to find y'all, because these young people need to know where, could need to know where to find this. And then, tell us why these kids should look into working in this field, because obviously it's very rewarding.
Absolutely. So the best way to contact us is 844-822-4622. And that's to our MEC Center, which where they will get you connected to SHIP and other programs that we offer here through the state agency. And you all can call us directly. I don't know that number, but my number is 601-359-4001. And of course, our state website is mdhs.ms.gov. We're in the process of updating it. So today it may look one way and 2 weeks from now it may look different. But nevertheless, the information doesn't change. It's always going to be fixed. And so as far as someone who is interested in coming into this field, like I said earlier, of course, social work is always open, but we do employ so many other backgrounds. So in addition to social work, we do have people with education background. We have people with a counseling background, but I'm sorry.
I'll talk about class. You're good.
Okay, we have people that they have a budgets in accounting. Well, yeah, accounting, finance, law, you name it. You name it. We have people that from different backgrounds that are employed here. So education is very important, guys. Regardless of what you major in, just make sure that you're happy and you're satisfied with that decision, and make sure it's your talent. It's your God-given talent.
and know what you're entitled to. So
absolutely.
No one's not an excuse. Know what your rights are, and know what you're entitled to as a citizen of the state. So again, Candace Washington, Mississippi Department of Human Services, right there in Jackson. Thank you so much for taking some time for us today. I did not know some of this stuff, so very educational for me as well.
Absolutely. I enjoyed you guys too. I enjoyed the conversation as well as the questions. And I noticed you all have a lot of seniors, so congratulations, seniors. Make Mississippi proud. Regardless if you choose to stay in state or out of state, please just make us proud whatever you do. And for the upcoming seniors, you all live your best life, but be safe, and again, make Mississippi proud.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, take care.
See ya.